Hey guys, in this video, we're gonna talk about how to use a HELOC to buy a rental property. Coming up. Okay, how do we use a HELOC to buy a rental property? Well, let's first start by defining what a HELOC is. HELOC, H-E-L-O-C, is a home equity line of credit. That's what that stands for. That's what that means, home equity line of credit. So how would we go about using a home equity line of credit to buy a rental property? Well, it's very, very simple. First and foremost, you have to have a home, or maybe you have another rental property or another property, right? But in order to use a HELOC, or another way to word that would be a revolving line of credit, a tapped against equity, which is what a HELOC is, you have to already have an asset or some equity in either your home or in another property that you may own. What you do is you go to a bank and you say, hey, I want to capture or tap into some of the existing equity in my home, which is the HELOC, or in another property or asset that I have, which is a revolving line of credit, very similar. And the bank's typically going to say, hey, no problem, we will lend you up to 70%, and that could vary depending on the bank or the institution, of what the equity in your property or home is. And they're going to send out an appraiser, and they're going to appraise the property, and they're going to offset what the property appraises for versus what you owe. And the difference right there, they're going to typically give you roughly 70% number on a loan. So that's actually going to be a second mortgage if it's your primary residence and you have a loan already and you're tapping equity. They're going to essentially put a second on your home. So in the event that you try to sell that property, you're gonna have to pay both the first mortgage and the second mortgage. This is the way the bank is gonna protect themselves. But you, as the borrower, get access to tap into the equity that you have in this property. Now, let's say that you have $100,000 worth of equity. That's a lot of equity. And if the bank's going to lend you 70% of that equity, that means they're gonna essentially open up a line of credit, similar to a credit card, but it's really gonna be more like a bank account that you can withdraw or wire the money out of. And you're going to have access to $70,000 in this scenario. So if you can go find a rental property for $70,000 or less, you can use that money to buy that property and pay cash. Another option is you could find a property, let's say for $200,000, and you could go get a loan from a bank, and you could use a conventional, traditional 80% loan from a bank, and you could use that $70,000 to cover the 20% down. And in that scenario, $200,000, 20%, that's 40 grand. And in this scenario, you take that 70,000, and you don't even need to use all of it. You just take 40,000 of it, and you put it down, and then you get a loan from a bank for 160, and you could buy a property worth 200,000. So it's very, very simple using a home equity line of credit or a revolving line of credit on other assets to buy rental properties. In fact, this is one of my favorite strategies, and I love using my personal line of credit to help fund rehabs or to help buy properties sometimes. And then I'll go to the bank and I'll refinance that out. So it's just a great tool to have to allow you to have more purchasing power. So can you do it? Yes, absolutely you can. And it's very, very simple. So what I would recommend is, first and foremost, go talk to the lender that you already have in place on your first mortgage. The reason I recommend that is it's typically going to be a little bit less process, right? They already know who you are. They already know the property. They already have a loan on it. They probably already have some of your recent taxes and information that they needed when they underwrote it the first time. And if it's relatively recent, they may not need a bunch more paperwork. They may only need a couple more things, and then they can offer you some of that equity. If that doesn't work, then go to another local bank or credit union and just apply through them for a home equity line of credit. Often they will do introductory rates where the first year is, very, very low, could be 2, 3, 4%. It's gonna depend a little bit, of course, on your area. And when you're watching this video, if you're watching this video 3 years after it's made, the rates could be way different. But typically after a year or two, you're gonna get a normal rate. And the rate that I have on mine right now is, I believe it's 4.5% on my personal home equity line of credit. And that's not terrible at all. So home equity line of credits can be very, very good tools. They can be very useful to help you buy more rental properties or maybe your first rental property. So guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope I answered your question. Like it so I can reach a wider audience, and subscribe for more videos. I love making these videos, and I love helping people learn all things real estate investing. In fact, check out some of our other videos on this channel to learn more about how you can wholesale, fix and flip, and buy rental properties using the BRRRR method with little to none owned money. Signing off.